Who is ready to join the adventure and see the giant pile of old parts I've got to start the Apocalypse PC project? You know you do, come on. I will do a proper second episode tomorrow, but honestly, I'm so overwhelmed after just sorting through the pile that I'm gonna need a day just to collect my thoughts and even put together in my head what I'm gonna do with all this stuff. But without further ado, this is the whole pile of parts that I have for this project, this video series here. And in the interest of full disclosure on what stuff, how much I've spent and what stuff I've spent money on, I am at about, I'm at $61 right now, and I've increased the budget now to under 100 because obviously I have more than one PC. I'm gonna probably pick up another free computer, and I'll be starting with 4 computers plus extra parts. So just to, I want to specifically say which stuff cost me money and which stuff I got for free. This tower right here, which I call Stately Matron. So this I paid $30 for. Now, even though it's an old PC running socket 775, this is actually a custom PC built around 2010. And it's all, it has an Asus motherboard, aftermarket power supply, aftermarket CPU cooler, all that kind of stuff. And I'll talk more about this later, but one thing a lot of people kind of hide in the cost of their builds on these videos is, honestly, if you believe that someone gets the highest end Xeon and overclocks it on an HT-PC case with the stock cooler and doesn't do an upgrade on that, yeah, right. So, usually it takes stuff like that. And so by paying a little more for a build, that it even looks like the power supply has been replaced more recently. It's got a 500 watt EVGA power supply. I'm gonna have some of that stuff I need, because another thing is people will just throw graphics cards in office PCs and they don't swap out the power supply. So yeah, I'm sure it runs as long as the video takes to record, but they're gonna blow that power supply very shortly. So it's just not realistic when they say I spent $36 on this and it does this and that. It's not gonna do it for very long if they don't upgrade those parts. So yeah, I bought this mostly because it has an aftermarket cooler that'll fit a wide variety of sockets, aftermarket power supply, and that Asus motherboard. So for my Zeon, which is the next thing I spent money on, this guy was like $9 and the sticker was like $1 in shipping. So yeah, this is where the 11 comes in. That's what I'm gonna put inside that. And in order to be able to overclock it and everything and to make it easier to do all the stuff, it's just nice to have an aftermarket board rather than be dealing with a pre-built PC. So yeah, and then right there is the Xeon 5450. And there is the little sticker thing that I put on there that makes it super easy to mod, so I don't have to do it with myself with a electrical tape and a circuit writer pen. I just stick that on there and it does it. So last things that I spent money on, these 2 graphics cards, which this lower one is an HD 7850. It's quite the old dinosaur, but it is still compatible with modern games because it's DirectX 11.1 and shader model 5.0. So unlike that GeForce 8800, it will actually at least start new games. So this one is supposed to work just fine, is never blue screened. This guy is a GTX 970 that has had VDU blue screens before. So hopefully I can fix it without too much trouble. If so, it'll be a really good deal to get both of these for $30. If all I got was an HD 7850 that worked for $30, that's not the greatest for a used part. HD 7850s are old enough that they're about free. But to get both of them right now when I wanted them, I'm paying a premium for a lot of this stuff that is effectively junk because, you have to go through extra steps for people to meet me and give me stuff right now, and it's an inconvenience. So that's the only stuff that cost me money. All the rest of this was free, and all of it came from the same guy. This right here is a little tiny all-in-one PC. It's like an Intel Atom something. It doesn't have the power supply, so I haven't booted it up yet. I'll have to use my universal laptop charger. Should work just fine. This guy is a custom PC built like this. Is like what that could be worst case scenario. I opened that guy up and it had all kinds of nice newer parts in it that I was really happy I got. This guy, opposite of that. Socket 775, won't even support the newer one, so I couldn't put that Xeon in this guy. It's pretty much garbage, but it is an aftermarket case. I actually thought it was a Dell looking at the guy's picture, and then when I picked it up, I realized it is actually a custom case. So yeah, just custom case, some fans, power supply. You know, I mean, I'll use some stuff out of it, but it's effectively recycle. I'm not going to use it actually has a Pentium dual core from socket 775, not even a Core 2 Duo. So I'll stick the Core 2 Duo that I'm going to pull out of that, the E8200, in there. And I mean, maybe I'll see if anybody wants it for free. It's got a Windows 7 license that maybe I can free upgrade somehow into a 10. But yeah, it's not good. This guy is probably the best thing total out of the free lot. This is an HP Pro pre-built tower, but it's socket 1155 and new enough that it will take an E3 Xeon with a BIOS update and a slight mod. So that I'll probably put in another thing I'll show in a minute, a bigger power supply I got in the free pile. And I'll put one of those graphics cards. But what I'll probably do is I'll put like an E3 1270 in there. And then if I fix it, the GTX 970, and this will be a serious sleeper PC. Just looking like some old HP thing, and in reality, it's going to run new games pretty well, and it'll actually really be VR capable. So, probably one of my favorite things I got out of the free lot. I got an antenna for the wireless card in Staley Matron that fit right on there. So, boom, I can use the built-in wireless card. What appears to be a totally unused, pretty cheapo 400 watt power supply. It's got all the stuff in there, looks brand new, unused. So yeah, I mean, it's not much, but hey, it's a 400 watt. That's actually enough that I can probably run a system with one of these graphics cards, which, I mean, some of these, you know, I'd just blow it up if I tried to put one of those graphics cards in there. But if not, Blade PSU, 24 pin. Yeah, I'm totally going to build a computer with 2 power supplies in it, which is not the first time, actually. I've done this before. They used to make 3.5 inch slot insert power supplies for your graphics card. Continuing on with the free pile, I got these appear to be brand new fans. These hard drives, I mean, I'm sure they're not new, but they're in good condition, and they each have a full install kit with a tray and SATA cables and power and adapters and all the stuff you could possibly need. A couple sticks of DDR2 RAM. I think those are only 1 gig, and some DDR3 RAM that are each 2 gig, a 320 gigabyte laptop drive, which, you know, hey, maybe I'll find a use for it. Bunch of old keyboards and mice and stuff, which, I mean, yeah, I just saved somebody else taking this to the e-recycle, except, oh my, that is a great keyboard. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look like much. It was made for an office PC, but these things are really nice, though quite loud, for an old mechanical keyboard, and they're pretty nice to game on. So I'm actually going to probably use that Dell on one of these computers. This enormous box of cables and adapters, which, I mean, there's crazy stuff in here, like a DVI with sound cables attached to it on the side, a whole bunch of VGA, DVI power cables, a numpad with a USB hub built in, a bunch of like MOS power adapters, or not MOSFET, that's car stereos, whatever they call that thing. But yeah, a ridiculous Molex, that's the word I was looking for, a ridiculous collection of wires and adapters. This guy must have just decided he hated computers now, because he just, and really this stuff is pretty old and is honestly garbage. It's got DVI KVM switch with all the stuff required attached to it, so that's pretty neat. Oh yeah, and finally I forgot to mention, this is unrelated, but this is my wireless Wii sensor bar from Kyrgyzstan. That's just totally because I needed a sensor bar, but I've never gotten anything from Kyrgyzstan before, so I'm just really excited to have interacted with a new country in some way. I almost forgot, the only thing so far out of all of this that has not worked when tested, and I haven't gotten around to testing everything, is this old Dell monitor, which is just a super low-end VGA only. And it worked for a minute, but then I guess just the dust inside was too much and a cap popped, and I'm not even replacing a capacitor in something like this. I'm just going to e-recycle it. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm being kind of lazy with that, but I mean, it's really just a low-end old freebie monitor and not even worth the time I would spend on it. Okay, so no lights, no production on this one, just closing out here. I mean, obviously I said I was going to build one PC that was under 50 bucks in the first place, but I just kind of want to do a little mini rant here in that this is not, I think a lot of the videos that people make with builds like this was like, oh, I can build this for 50 bucks. I can build this for $72, so on and so forth. It's all just about bragging rights, and they just, I don't know, it's for their ego. And so they do all that stuff where they like lie about it, or they hide the real costs of other things that they needed, or realistically it won't run for much longer than it takes them to shoot the video. And that's just, I mean, I don't know, you know, I guess it's good entertainment content, but it's not really teaching you how to do anything that is effective for your time. A lot of this stuff, I mean, the purpose for this project is not to try and build a $50 PC. It's not to try and even build PCs that I need. This is about showing you the philosophy and some tricks that you can do to get more out of less, to take things that others view as garbage and do a surprising amount with them. Because no, I don't think this is the apocalypse, or that COVID-19 is going to be what, you know, disrupts the supply chain for decades. But that's a thing that could theoretically happen. I mean, that's, you know, that's the thing that's happened in human history, where we could not be able to manufacture computer parts for a while. And rather than just trying to hoard the last round of new ones, I think that, you know, doing stuff like this, you can, you know, it's like you see in Mad Max movies where they're rebuilding all these old engines and stuff over and over and over again. That's the philosophy. That's the point here. So in full disclosure, I've spent $71. I'm hoping to keep it under 100, but I'm probably going to order that Xeon E3-1270, which is a really cheap, I mean, it's about like, it's like a 3rd gen i7 Extreme or something, but it costs you like 15-20 bucks to order instead of 100. So yeah, it's a lot of power for not much. So I'll still be under $100 total. I don't think I need anything else. I mean, I've got a bunch of drives that aren't very fast, but they're drives that'll work. I got a bunch of power supplies that aren't super great, but although I may have to put more than one in a case at a time, I'm going to be able to get all this stuff up and going. I'm not going to have to lie. I'm not going to have to cheat to make working systems. And I mean, honestly, if I even come up with one with the best of this stuff, it would be worth more than, I mean, twice as much as I've spent on any of this stuff or more. So yeah, that's totally not the point. Not about bragging rights of how cheap I can do it. Realistically, if I wasn't just doing this right now to make videos on it, this is all stuff that you should be able to get for free if you're just patient and accumulate stuff that people would e-recycle, because it's realistically 10 years old or almost. And it's, you know, some people are just going to take that stuff to the e-recycler. So you just get lucky and catch them when they're, you know, they throw it up on Craigslist. Oh, maybe somebody else will just take the stuff off my hands. I don't have to drive down to the e-recycler. You know, you catch 6 months of those and you could get a pile bigger than this and pay not one penny. But in order to have exactly what I want, like the processor I want in order to do that mod on to demonstrate it, a graphics card that's broken that will actually be good for something if I can fix it, you know, is why I wanted to score a 970 rather than there are all kinds of old broken graphics cards out there that I could get for free. So yeah, that's where I'm going for here, but it's also, you know, full disclosure and honesty. It really does irritate me in videos when people do stuff like that, where if you know, I mean, if you've ever used eBay before and you weren't born yesterday, you know that CPU wasn't really $2 or $1, or that graphics card wasn't really $6. And they're like, oh, and of course I had to pay some shipping. Yeah, of course you had to pay the rest of the value in shipping, because really it cost them $6 to ship that and you paid $27 for it. Come on. And, you know, also when people do stuff, they're like, yeah, I put this, you know, 6-core Xeon in this system that comes with a Celeron and has this thin little aluminum heatsink. You're like, yeah, how long did that work for? And what clocks is it at right now? Because it's probably throttled. Like, yeah, okay, you can get it to boot and you can get it to show up in CPU-Z, but like, let's be real here. I'm not trying to lie to you to stoke my own ego. I'm trying to genuinely show you how to be John Connor in case we have a real tech apocalypse. So, yeah, end rant.